Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Morris Merriweather, and I appreciate you joining us again for Straight Talk in Room 503. Just came in from outside, and we having such a beautiful day. Really, it's kind of a little slow coming to class today, but I'm so glad that you have chosen to join me today as we continue to talk about the failure of public education. If you remember, I told you that I would never talk about what's going on in your hometown without discussing what's going on in my hometown. I had such an interesting week this week in dealing with public education and talking to people across the country. We had a board meeting here this past week in Madison County. I attended the board meeting and I looked around the room, and unless I missed it, ladies and gentlemen, do forgive me, I did not observe one pastor or minister or evangelist in the audience. But also, I noticed in that in my hometown, over 60% of the school system, public education in our hometown, is 60% minority. I looked around and there were not 60% minority present in the room. There are people that I see weekly and daily, and we discuss public education. I looked around and they was not present. But ladies and gentlemen, you can ask anybody on the street. You can ask the wino if he's not too drunk. Do you care about children? Yeah, I care about children. Everybody sing the song, but who walk the walk and talk the talk? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day when you look around and people are not there and concerned about public education. One of the things that came out, they were presenting in my hometown $1.1 billion budget to the county commissioner, which is the funding source for Madison County school system. And one of the board members asked during the discussion of putting laptops in the hands of all of the 8th grade students. Have we thought about laptop versus tablets? I'm told that they're more apt to be obsolete than the tablets, and that the tablets are the thing of the time. And there was quietness in the board meeting. I was amazed that the board had not investigated and looked at the pros and the cons versus laptop versus tablets. And they're presenting $1.1 million and superintendent with a PhD and outstanding community leaders had not done their homework. Well, why are teachers so upset when students are not doing their homework and the board is not doing their homework? Ladies and gentlemen, let me cover the last thing. There was money set aside to repair some of the buildings in our school system. And one of the most astute board members on there, I've noticed we got 9, but I'm impressed with only 2 because I'm not sure what the other ones are doing or what game they're playing or what is on their agenda or who's holding their string. But this particular board member said, we allocated money to repair some of the buildings, and we're noticing that some of the buildings are still not repaired. So who is accountable for that, and why haven't we done so? And what's going to happen to the money? Light went on in my head. Wow, interesting question. Let's see what the answer is going to be. Did not hear an answer as to what was going to happen to that portion of the money. We're talking about in the excess of over $300,000. Which could buy a lot of textbooks and a lot of resources and hire a lot of effective teachers. That wasn't answered. And then it was said, well, where did that money go? When are we going to do that? Then the illustrious superintendent said that, the repair was going to be made. Ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be a sad day. I'm sitting up here with a brand new laptop computer, but I'm dodging rain that's dropping in, or I'm on my laptop, but I'm smelling mold and mildew. I'm on my laptop, but the restrooms are not sanitized and smelling good. And I'm on my laptop, but my teacher's not an effective teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so fooled. Not me. We're so fooled about that's Mr. So-and-so's wife. She's white. She has to be right. She lives in a real nice home, and she got to be smart. She has a PhD. She has a master's degree. She went to college. She real smart. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't do anything, not for this author. not for this host, because only what you do for Christ will last. There are going to be a lot of administrators and teachers and board members and commissioners of education and community leaders that's going to bust hell wide open, because he said only what you do for Christ will last. It's a sad day. You know, I'm reminded of a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It says, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Dr. King lived a life and has affected this whole country and generations to come. And let's go back to the quote. You don't have to see the whole staircase just to take the first step. My question is, why haven't you? I'm talking about you. Why haven't you taken a step to improve public education? I believe if you will stop a wino and if he's not too intoxicated and you ask him, do you care about the children? I think in his intoxicated state, he will stumble back and say, yeah, I care about the children. But here we are, Christians, who just a few days ago was in church, praising God with our hands up, reading our Bible, shouting, crying, faking. Are we really concerned about children? Are we making sure that every child, rich or poor, black or white, learn or unlearn, regardless of where they came from, who their parents are we caring about every child? Are we like we are across this country, incarceration over education? We'll pay to incarcerate them, but we won't pay to educate them. Ladies and gentlemen, either I'm real dumb and you real smart, or I'm real smart and you real dumb if you didn't figure that one out. Stay with me. Let me take a break and I'll come right back. Ladies and gentlemen, before it gets past me, I was doing a little research and a little reading this week and ran across an author by the name of Gerald Davis. Gerald Davis wrote a book on the Ku Klux Klan, and he actually went and met with the Klansmen. What was interesting, he had a white secretary, and he thought it would be more proper and fitting for her to call the Klansman to set up the interview, because if they detected he was black, they may not talk to him. So she set the interviews up. And there was a lot of amazed Klansmen when he knocked on the door, and they opened the door, and there was a black man says, I'm Gerald Davis, and you have an appointment with me. Some of them allowed him to come in, some didn't. But ladies and gentlemen, his question is profound. How can you hate me and you don't even know me? The Bible says, how can you not love your neighbor who you see daily, but you say you love me? It's a lie, and the truth is not in you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got some serious stuff. We need to start worrying about our heart. We can change schools, we can change neighborhoods, we can change spouses, we can change churches, we can change clothes. But unless you change your heart, you're not changed. That reminds me of the three ladies. One was 96, 94, 92. The 94-year-old lady was about to take a bath, and when she stepped into the tub, she said to the 94-year-old lady, I don't know whether I was getting in or getting out. Can you come help me and make that decision for me? The 94-year-old lady started up the stairs and she stopped. And she says, I don't know whether I'm coming up the stairs or going down the stairs. She hollered back to the 92-year-old lady, can you come help me? She chuckled and says, thank goodness I'm not like you all. I'm on my way. She said, hold on just a minute. She says, I'm so glad I'm not like you all. Let me knock on wood. And she said, I'll be there in just a minute, just as soon as I answer the door. Ladies and gentlemen, some of us are just like the 92, the 94, and 96-year-old lady. We think we're so smart. We think we're different from everybody else. And we just like the people that we are pointing fingers at. Give that some thought, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing I'm reminded of the bumblebee. we're in summertime, and I observe and have been studying the bumblebee. And I noticed that the bumblebee body is nearly 20 times the size of the wingspan. He's got a little wingspan. But that bumblebee can go anywhere you and I can go. Isn't that amazing? You know why? No one told the bumblebee that he couldn't fly. So the bumblebee just took off and excelled. I think what's happening in public education in our communities across this country is that we are telling certain students, oh, you're not going to be anything your mom and dad was done. Your mom and dad came from a bad environment. You're not going to be anything because you came from a bad environment. You know, your daddy was an alcoholic. You know, your dad went to prison and you're going to prison too. You can't hardly read. You're reading on 3rd grade level. Here you are in the 10th grade. But if no one told the bumblebee, and the bumblebee is soaring in the sky and being successful, I believe if we would not tell students what they can't be, because only one know what you can be is God Almighty. But if we take the limitations off of students and teach them as if everybody's going to college, and in my school, you wouldn't be working for me if you couldn't make sure that all students are given the same treatment, same education, same motivation. Because everybody can learn and everybody can excel. You just have to teach them just like you do the bumblebee. Just don't tell them what they can't be, tell them what they can be. And things will change. I think that's what's hurting public education. That is hurting us in a very bad way. Testing is destroying public education because that's all we're doing. We prepare them to test. We're not preparing them to be leaders. And that's why they're not becoming leaders. And that's why we have incarceration over education across this country, because we're not teaching them to be leaders. We're so concerned about testing. But you know, I just happen to be thinking a lot of testing. Let me put my glasses back on because I want to read this. I just happened to jot this down when I was thinking about talking about testing. Constant testing. Try that again. That was a tongue twister. Constant testing are the wiggling maggots that are destroying public education. Let that soak in a little bit. Let's just hold up and let that soak in. Constant testing are the wiggling maggots that are destroying public education. We need to call a exterminator. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. Thank you, and we're right back. You know, while on a little brief break, I was thinking about this. The voices of parents and teachers have changed. Where when you and I, some of you and I, come along, parents didn't plead with you and beg with you. They simply gave you an order. When I was in school, the teacher said, sit down, you mean sit down. Don't mean you can sit down when you get ready. Come here, I mean come here and come here, not later, but now. But things have changed and parents are so easy to want to be friends with children. Talked with a lady the other day and she says, well, my daughter and I are best friends. And I said, that's not biblical. I'm Bible based and I'll tell you in a minute, that's not biblical. The Bible says nothing about a parent and a friend. It said about a parent and a child. So raise up a child in the way they go, and when they are older, they will not depart. But we're spending too much time catering and trying to be friends with students and children, adults. Will you come here? Not will you come here? Come here. When your child go out to get a job, the boss is not going to say, when you get a chance, will you prepare that and have that ready to go out to shipping? Will you, I need that on my desk. They don't say, will you have it on my desk? They're not asking you, they're paying you, and you need to have it. So we need to take them through the training that's in reality. We're not doing that. No one is going to continue to hire you when you're not following orders. Ladies and gentlemen, the clock on the wall says it's time to go. And let me conclude at this. Don't let people tell you what you can be and what you can do, because you can do all things through Jesus Christ who strengthens you. I'm reminded of Samuel in the Bible when he went to David's father looking for the next king. David's father was telling him about his sons, and Samuel says, no, it's not one of them. Have you got another son? Well, I got David. His daddy even insulted him and disrespect him as well. Well, I got David out there in the field. He's watching sheep. He's a little scrawny little guy, not too smart. But I don't think you'd be interested in talking to him. Samuel said, well, let me see him. And they brought David in, and you know the rest of the story. David became the king. A lot of time our own parents sometimes put us down. You're not going to be anything. You're going to be just like your daddy. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. I never let anybody determine who and what I'm going to be. Only the Father up above knows what I'm going to be. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to do just like we do with Pam. We need to spray some Pam. We need to spray this so that nothing sticks. The whole purpose behind Pam is that when you spray it in the skillet, the food that you're cooking will just slide right out. And that's what we need to do when people try to put us down and tell us we're not going to be anything. And because I came from public education, I can't be what I want to be. Because I live in certain neighborhoods, born to certain parents, I can't be what I want to be. Only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pound you. So, ladies and gentlemen, the clock on the wall says it's time to go. I've enjoyed another week with you. I look forward to joining you again next week. Again, I'm your host, Morris Merriweather, the author of Enough is Enough, and the host of Straight Talk. Join me again as we continue to fight to improve public education. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you'll join me. Again, if you haven't bought my book, please go to my website. I got it up and going now, www.morrismerriweather.com. Or you can go to Facebook every Monday, or you can go to YouTube every Monday. And I'll be there addressing public education. On my Facebook page, my website, you can leave me a comment, and I'll be glad to communicate back with you. You can go to Books A Million. You can also go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can even contact me. I have a contact number on my website, and we'll make sure you get a copy of the book. Ladies and gentlemen, until next week, I'll see you, and I hope that you become concerned about public education because it's important. Take care. See you next week.